its balls in front of the pocket, so it'd be pretty hard. All right, are we ready for 8-ball scenario?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. We'll start from the beginning of the break. And a lot of you are league players, so this is going to be reviewed. For other of you, it'll be interesting. But we're going to be playing in our tournament the last week of class. We're going to play the international BCA rules. And those are the rules that are played everywhere, even in Asia, Europe, United States, South America, and so forth. That was one of the problems with 8-ball for many years, is there were more rules than Carter has pills. But now we have international rules that everybody pretty much abides by. All right, when you rack the balls in 8-ball, you'll see a lot of people separate solids and stripes. That's not necessary. The only thing that is required on the rack is the 8-ball being in the middle, and on the wings you have to have a solid and a stripe. You know, on each side. It doesn't matter which side, but they have to be different.
Are there any advantages, like
The way you rack the balls?
the way you rack the balls, as far as when you hit, when you break, which way they're going to go? Is there any advantage in hitting them a certain way?
Yeah, they call that pattern racking, but the break in 8-ball is so unpredictable. I think it's like peeing in the wind. You know what I mean? But some people believe that. For example, Corey Deuel in 9-ball is like a master at racking the balls a certain way, so the 1 ball goes a certain place and all that. But 8-ball is a little tougher to do that. The main thing about the rack, especially when you're racking for yourself, is to make sure they're tight. Because if any of the balls are loose, especially the ones up front, it'll cause, you know, to not open up, and you'll end up with a lot of clusters.
Yeah.
When you're playing in a tournament and somebody's racking for you, you need to look at the rack and make sure it's okay. Not that people would cheat, but you know.
They'll take
So,
advantage
Grace
any
laughing.
way they can get it.
What?
Some of them will take advantage any way they can get it.
Yeah, some people will win at all costs, that's for sure. I've been playing competitive pool long enough to know that. When you break an 8-ball, always use a break cue. You'll notice that the cue I have is has a phenolic tip, which is like rock. It's so hard. And it's also a little bigger, but not much heavier, because you want to get, you know, cue speed going through it. And the main thing about the 8-ball break is hitting the head ball as square as you can. Because if you're off center on the head ball, you're going to lose control of the cue ball and scratch, and you won't get as much power transferred to the rack. Now, a lot of people break on the second ball, but with the new rules, the 8-ball on the break is no longer a win. It's just spots. So lately I've been breaking just on the head ball. But the main thing on the break is the follow through and acceleration and hitting the tin as square as you can. So alignment's really important, taking a little extra moment to get everything perfectly aligned. And I want to hit that 10-ball as square as I can. More important than power. But I want the cue tip to accelerate through the ball. And you notice how the cue ball stayed in the center of the table. That's a good example of a good break, because I didn't lose control of it, did I? And I made 2 balls. All right, so let's look at this scenario. Let's try to figure out the best thing to do. I've got a stripe and a solid. And the interesting thing about international rules is that regardless of what you make on the break, it's open. It's still open, right, Jill? It's still an open table. It's an open table till you make your first called shot. Okay? All right, let's look at the balls. And the first thing I look at when I look at a table is, where are my trouble shots?
Right there. That cluster.
Yeah, right now the 12 doesn't go, does it?
15 does, though.
Yeah, 15 goes. The 11's kind of in an awkward position. Remember, when the ball's on the rail, that makes it a little tougher. Although I have 3 easy shots at stripes over here.
Solid.
So, which do you think would be better, the solids or the stripes?
Solid. Solid.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have a hard time making a solid on the first shot. I can't shoot the 5 ball or the 7.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think the reason why I would take the stripes is I see that lone 6 ball down there, thinking how I'm going to get back on that later on. Now, if I make the 15, I can move the 12 into an open position.
Yeah.
And you could actually use the 11 in a combination.
Right, I could also do that.
But you could also safety behind the rack over there, right?
Sure, yeah.
Need
In
somebody
fact,
with that choice on that.
we'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about safeties and things like that. But what I usually do as far as that goes, if I feel like I can make the balls into the game, I won't worry about safeties. If I feel like the challenge is just too great, there's too many problems, I'll play safe. Yeah.
Does that 3 ball go in with kicking the 12 at it?
Actually, the 3 ball doesn't go at all from where it is. The 12 is in the way. I probably could make the 3 ball if I had the cue ball right here. That way I can make it 3 without...
But with the combo with the 12, it's an open table, so you can use that other ball.
Well, the combo's not on either. I could combo the 1 into the 3, but that's a good
But if you
point.
take solids, you don't want to break that 15 out before the other.
Right.
15 into the 15 in his pocket, nudging the 12 out of the way is the shot.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But let's go through and kind of see what we can do. Now, on the first shot, it's real important that when you, regardless of what you make on the break, that when you make your first called shot, I can actually take a solid and make a stripe. I can hit a solid first and then make a stripe.
You keep shooting.
Yeah, because on the very first shot, when it's an open table, you can use another ball to make, a solid to make a stripe or a stripe to make a solid. Only on the first shot when you make your first called shot. From there, once I establish, let's say stripes, let's say I shoot the 13, then from there I have to make a legal shot on the stripe for the rest of the game. Otherwise it's a foul and ball in hand.
This is also the only time you could do a push too, right?
That's a 9 ball, not an 8 ball.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll need an explanation of
Yeah,
the push a little bit later. I'd love that.
We'll get to that maybe next week. We'll talk about that. All right, if I do take stripes, what would be the best shot to shoot first?
Mm-hmm.
I might shoot the 10 and try to move that 9 ball out a little for a straight in
You
shot.
take the 10,
I would
you'll
take
get
the
position
15.
on the 9, and then you have position
I
on
want
the
to get that out of the
Right.
way first, but the 10 is probably the better shot.
All right. I think I like the 10, but one thing I notice is there's a little angle. So if I see the tangent line, if I just bump that 9 down rail, that's going to be an easier shot. So I'm actually going to hit a stun shot, and I want the cue ball to run into the 9 and bump the 9 down rail a little bit so it's a little bit easier. Not too hard. Just a nice little stun shot, not a lot of stroke. Now, if you look at it, now that's a lot easier than the shot I had before, isn't it? Okay, I could shoot the 13 here, but I think I'm going to shoot the 9, and I'm going to try to go 2 rails around. I hope I don't hit the 13, that'll make it a little tougher. Well, I did hit the 9, so I got a little bit of tougher position. I really can't worry about shooting that yet, so I'm going to play the 13 on the side. And then I want to get a position here to shoot on the 15 down there. that's about as good as I could do. I had a little right English on that to keep it on the table. But now if I just hit a rolling ball, so I'll hit this nice and easy. Now, instead of shooting the 11, what should I do now?
The 12 first and then.
Yeah, play the combination of the 12 and the 11. And again, if you're playing in a game of 8-ball here, you got to call a combination. So you have to call the 11 here. So we'll go ahead and shoot the 11 with combination. Notice how easy I hit it because I wanted the 12 to kind of lay in front of the pocket. All right, now I'm in pretty good shape. If I make the 12, I should be able to get position on the 8. Now, if I hit it straight on stop shot, I don't want to leave the cue ball here because that's a really difficult shot. So what I'm going to do here to make it easier is I'm going to go rail first, make the 12 cue ball bounce over here out behind the 8. Just a little bit rail first should get the cue ball in a proper position. And I could have hit it a little harder, couldn't I? Now I'll call the 8 in there. And you do have to call the 8. Now, just a couple of things I want to call your attention to. Like along the way, a lot of different things can come up in 8-ball that you need to be aware of. A lot of times you'll have shots like this, where you're shooting the 6 in the corner, and something like this might happen. In other words, you've already established solids, and you're shooting the 6 in the corner, and you hit your opponent's ball first. They would get ball in hand anywhere on the table. Also,
after you hit the 6, you would hit the rail. We have to hit the rail scoop behind the 14. And have to hit the 6 and get a hit, not to give away ball in hand. I know I can't make the shot.
right.
So what's my best at that moment? The best way to I want to hold the cue ball or something like that. But I got to hit the rail in order to hit the 6 the way you had it set up. Right?
Oh, okay. Well, let's go over what a legal shot is. Okay. A legal shot means you have to hit the rail after contact with your ball. Okay. Just so you know, this is not a legal shot. If I go to the rail first like this and hit my ball, and nothing hits a rail after contact, that would be a foul. It's ball in hand. Right. But if I did something like this, it would be a legal shot. In other words, I hit my 6 ball and made contact with the rail afterwards. But that's kind of important to know the rules in 8-ball because there are a lot of them. Now, here's another thing that a lot of people don't realize about 8-ball. They might do something like this. They'll I'll do it like this. Let's say you're calling the 8-ball to win the game and something like this happens. 8-ball in the corner pocket. Okay, most people think that's lost the game, but what in international rules, that would just mean that your opponent would get ball in hand anywhere on the table and have to keep shooting. In the old days, if you scratched on the 8-ball, that would be a loss. But what would be a loss is if you did this. 8-ball in the corner. Make the 8-ball and scratch it as a loss. And these are the rules we're going to play on our last day of class. But any other questions about 8-ball?
Yeah, I got.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, you said after you break, your first shot, you can use, say, the 1 ball to put the 15.
Exactly.
And say that you want salt or you want straight.
Yeah, let's
Let's
say.
say you miss that shot. Does the opponent get the same opportunity?
Yes. As long as it's an open table, you can use a stripe to make a solid or a solid to make a stripe. Let's say this is
The
after.
8-ball.
Let's say this is
You can't
after.
use the 8-ball to put an object ball in.
You can?
You can't.
Oh, no.
You can't. The 8-ball is not neutral.
No.
Like if this was the first shot after an open rack and open table, and I did this would be fine. And then I would establish stripes. But from that point on, I would have to make a legal shot on a stripe and hit it first. Okay?
But you can use a stripe to put a stripe in.
Right. Yeah.
Now, another question.
Yeah.
When you hit that rail before you put the ball in the corner, do you actually have to call that as a bank shot?
No. It's in 8-ball international rules. It's just ball and pocket. That's all you got to call it. In fact, if I miss a shot in this corner pocket and it goes 4 rails and goes into that pocket, it's still good.
You
And
still shoot.
I've actually seen that happen. Believe it or not. Yes. No, that's good questions because on our last day of class, we're going to have a little 8-ball tournament. And you'll get a chance to probably play everybody in the class. It'll be fun. But we'll use these rules because these are league rules and this is the way they play. Most places, except Bill, plays for APA and they are a little bit different. Yeah. But they still play ball in hand.
But they don't have to call it pocket, it just goes in and it's a point.
Yeah. Yeah. And nothing wrong with APA. APA is a wonderful rule
See,
too. They
that's
have
a-
a little bit different rules.
That's the way we play. We play, you call a pocket. If you shoot
Yeah.
at that corner and it hit the rail and boom, boom, and came back up here, you're
Yeah.
done. But in DCA, you're still shooting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, and also another thing too, if you make a ball and scratch, everything stays down.